Chazal tell us that during the period of time when Yaakov was traveling to look for his wife, when he was being sent by his parents at the end of last week's Parsha, until this week's Parsha, when Yaakov Avinu arrives at Har HaMoriah and has his famous dream of the ladder with the Malachei Elokim and the angels of heaven, Olim v'Yordim Bo, going up and down, he spent 14 years learning in the Yeshiva of Sheim Eiver. What exactly was learned in the Yeshiva of Sheim Eiver? Somebody just asked me this past week, what was going on? What was learned in the Yeshiva of Sheim Eiver? Yaakov had the opportunity to learn from his father, from Yitzchak. What could he possibly have learned from Sheim Eiver that he was not able to learn from Yitzchak? Why would he stop on his way to find his wife, as his parents had asked him, and instead sit and learn in Yeshiva? Yaakov Kamenetsky, in his Emes Yaakov, asks this very question. He wonders what exactly was learned in the Yeshiva of Sheim Eiver. And if Yaakov explains that the Torah of Sheim Eiver was in fact unique, and it was what Yaakov needed in order to help prepare himself to be going into Galus. You see, his father Yitzchak never was in Galus. He was always in Eretz Yisrael, and he didn't have the tools. He didn't have this Torah, the instructions, what it would take to be able to live in the place of a Lavan, to live amongst people that didn't see things the same way that he did. And Yaakov understood that he needed to find somebody who could train him. And Sheim, who had experienced everything over the course of the Mabul, had seen so many things throughout his life, was the right person to go to. And the Yeshiva of Sheim Eiver was that place of preparation. It was a unique part of his mission, and that's why Yaakov stopped on his way. It wasn't that it was a break in his mission, but it was actually part of his mission to make sure that he was going to succeed in finding the wife and making sure that he would maintain the values of his father. What did they learn specifically in the Yeshiva of Sheim Eiver? I'm not quite sure. But perhaps there's at least one lesson that we can glean from the first episode that we see in the Torah following that period of time. We know that Yaakov emerges and he has this dream. What did Yaakov dream of? Yaakov dreamed of a ladder. Sulam mutzav arza. A ladder that was firmly placed in the ground. V'rosho magiha shamayma. And its head was up in the heavens. What's the significance of a ladder? Why is it that it was specifically a ladder that they were walking up and down? So perhaps there are two ideas in terms of the significance of the ladder that can help understand maybe one lesson that Yaakov Avinu had gained and gleaned from the Yeshiva of Sheim Eiver. The first is that it's much harder to skip rungs on a ladder than it is to skip steps when you're going up steps. Even standing still on a ladder requires paying attention. And in life, we try to take step forwards. And specifically, when we're going into a new area, we want to try and accomplish new things. But the ladder and this lesson reminds us that we can't try to do too much at one time. We strive, we dream to get to the top of the ladder, to achieve all it is that we wish to achieve. But we can't skip steps along the way. And sometimes you may even fall. But a step down on a ladder, it's not a major setback. You're still remaining on that ladder. And secondly, and perhaps more significantly, what is unique about a ladder is that on steps or on a ramp, the other ways that you could possibly go up, if you would go up or down, you turn your body in the opposite direction in order to go down. But not on a ladder. You see, on a ladder, you're always facing the same direction. Even when you go back, you haven't turned your back. You still look up. You go up and down, but you're facing the same direction. What's on top of Yaakov's ladder? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And whether you're going up or whether you're going down, in order to succeed, you always need to be turning towards Hashem. And perhaps two of the lessons that he gained from Yeshiva Sheim Eiver are included in that vision of the ladder, and certainly are lessons for us in our lives. Is that if we view our life as if we're walking up that ladder, then we're always pointing towards the top. We're always pointing up. Even if we go down, we're still facing towards the top. We don't turn around. And that we try and make sure that we move step by step, rung by rung, not to skip, but to figure out what needs to be done in order to improve, in order to get ourselves closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that hopefully we continue to ascend up and up on that ladder.